This is ridiculous. Can we get this fixed? I'm trying to do a show, Before the Bible, before Genesis, there were clouds floating through the set. WTF, yo, this is so unprofessional. I need a new agent.
Take 9, Before the World, We Think. Before the World was a lesson about punishment and poverty. There was a story carried across continents of a time when men were named appropriately as a species of light. A story of dragons, chaos, and a god who brought a text from somewhere far older than Mesopotamia.
The epic of creation, the Enuma Elish, is one of humanity's oldest surviving creation narratives. 7 clay tablets, a cosmic war, a universe carved out of chaos.
But there's something strange about this story, something scholars notice but rarely explain. It doesn't just resemble later biblical accounts, it mirrors them, not like a cousin, more like a reflection in disturbed water.
The Enuma Elish begins in a time before time, when only a boundless watery abyss existed, Apsu and Tiamat. From their mingling came the first gods, but harmony didn't last. Conflict erupted between the old and the young, setting the stage for a cosmic fracture. And here's the part that always raises eyebrows. The text claims this knowledge was brought and established, not born in Babylon. Brought from where?
The tablets were found in the library of Ashurbanipal, but even there they read like a reconstruction, a retelling.
A version of something older that had already passed through many hands. Some traditions speak of knowledge-bearers who travelled great distances, carrying sacred stories across vast lands. Others speak of those who divided the waters, not parting seas, but splitting an original text into fragments. The Enuma Elish feels like one of those fragments. And from this chaos, a figure rises, not just a hero, but a carrier, a bringer, a restorer of something he did not originate.
Marduk, son of Ea, emerges as a warrior destined for greatness. And here's where things get even stranger. And this is coming from a scholar. Namely myself, hehe. There's a growing possibility that Marduk didn't just rise once. He may have re-emerged across different lands, under different names, reinventing himself each time he stepped into a new civilization. Look at the god lists, look at the kings, look at the heroes. The patterns line up almost too neatly. Nebuchadnezzar, Pythagoras, Gilgamesh, Thor, Nimrod. Figures separated by geography and time, yet all depicted with eerily similar symbols. A man gripping a serpent in one hand, a goat or beast in the other, carved in stone as if to warn future generations of a presence that kept returning. Not the same name, not the same culture, but the same signature. The same archetype, the same carrier.
But the text emphasizes something unusual. He doesn't just fight, he establishes, he brings order, he delivers the divine blueprint, almost like someone arriving with a story already written, stolen, plagiarized.
His opponent, Tiamat, embodies chaos, or is that freedom? The dragon, the serpent, the primordial mother. Their battle is framed as order versus disorder, but beneath the mythic imagery, it reads like something else. A struggle over a text, a struggle over who gets to define creation, a struggle over whose version becomes the foundation of civilization. When Marduk splits Tiamat and forms the heavens and earth from her body, it feels symbolic, like dividing something whole into 2 halves, dividing the waters. And this is where the mirroring becomes impossible to ignore. Genesis describes creation emerging from a primordial deep. The Enuma Elish describes the same. Both begin with water. Both begin with division. Both begin with a spoken order imposed on chaos.
These aren't just shared motifs, they're shared structures, as if one text is a distorted echo of another. And if the echo is distorted, something must have distorted it. It's no secret Solomon's temple mirrors Babylonian ziggurats. Ziggurats mirror older structures. Older structures mirror something even more ancient, something carried, not invented. Sacred architecture is like a fingerprint, and these fingerprints match across cultures separated by oceans, unless they weren't always separated. And if the stories travelled, what else travelled with them?
Marduk doesn't just appear in Babylon, He shows up everywhere, every continent, every era, always the same signature, the bearded man of authority, the bringer of order, the one handing kings the symbols of power. A beat, leaning conspiratorial. Look at the iconography. A man with a beard, wings, or a radiant aura, holding a pine cone, a serpent, a goat, or a sacred object in each hand. This isn't random. These carvings appear in Mesopotamia, in the Levant, in the Mediterranean, in the Americas, as if to warn future generations that the same presence kept returning.
And when you compare the god lists and the hero cycles, the pattern gets even stranger. Nebuchadnezzar, Pythagoras, Gilgamesh, Thor, Nimrod, figures separated by oceans and centuries, yet all echoing the same archetype, the same personality, the same mythic footprint, almost as if Marduk reinvented himself across civilizations, wearing new names like masks. Not the same man, but the same being, the Sama.
Ancient myths, often dismissed as just fables, might actually contain echoes of forgotten technologies. Marduk's whirlwind weapon could be a metaphor, or maybe even a memory. Celestial boats and fiery chariots, well, they show up not only in the Enuma Elish, but also in the Mahabharata, the Vimanika Shastra, the Book of Enoch, Mayan cosmology, Hopi petroglyphs, ever Inuit artifacts, and across Chinese culture. Different continents, different cultures, yet the same machines, unless, of course, they all inherited the same story. Some ancient traditions, they speak of a small group, 13, in some accounts, who carried knowledge across the world after a great upheaval. They brought stories, laws, calendars, and technologies to new lands. Not creators, carriers. And when you look at the Enuma Elish through that lens, it feels less like a Mesopotamian origin story, and more like a Mesopotamian copy of something much older. Something brought from far away. Something divided. Something, rewritten.
I'm not saying that outright, I'm just saying the pattern is there, and once you see it, honestly, it's hard to unsee.
If this story caught your attention, just wait until you see what the Book of Enoch reveals about the beings who walked between worlds. That video is on screen now. And tell me, which ancient myth do you think hides the oldest truth? And if you're wondering what Marduk truly divided, that's where the story gets even stranger. Because the Enuma Elish doesn't just describe the splitting of a dragon. It describes the splitting of something far more important, something older than Babylon, older than the tablets, older than the myth itself.
Some say he divided the waters, others say he divided the heavens, but the oldest traditions hint at something else entirely, a division of the original text, a breaking of a single story into two competing versions, one preserved, one corrupted, one carried across continents.
And in our next video, we're going to follow that fracture. We're going to trace what was split, who split it, and why the echoes of that division still shape the world today.